bright colors, the vivid greens are next to the very vivid reds, showing us an indication of some rotation going on. And like the Weather Service said, there's just not a whole lot of rotation going on either in the upper levels or down near the surface on this. So this is really more of a hail producing storm that we're looking at there. I'll come back over and look at this storm in Hamilton County, and it too is not really showing much in the way of any rotation, although we're seeing some very strong winds pulling into it. We're not seeing rotation going on with this storm. So again, looks like it's going to be a very heavy rain producer, very strong winds, and possible hail with this storm. Again, the storm over Hamilton is a severe thunderstorm warning until 6 o'clock, and we have a tornado warning for storm here in Lampasas County, right along the county line, that was producing some large hail about 10 to 15 minutes ago, and that has ended. We saw the hail core disappear in it, so that's not much of a player at this point. So they're just warning right now for very strong winds and thank you. Very strong winds and hail. It looks like perhaps hail to nickel size, and winds gusting to 40 miles an hour. Just barely severe thunderstorm criteria. We'll go back in and look at this on the reflectivity and put it into motion for you. Very heavy rain, and maybe another hail core showing up. Let's get back down here, look at that again. Yeah, we do. See, actually we had a couple of hail cores showing up in this storm. Apparently they're pulsing up and beginning to collapse. Thunderstorms normally don't have much more of a lifespan than 20 to 25 minutes or so, but what happens is the outflow from the dying thunderstorm actually helps create lift and gives birth to another storm, and we're getting plenty of updrafts here in these storms moving out of San Saba and across the Colorado River, and that's where we're seeing new hail signatures in this batch of storms here. And the reason for the tornado warning, it is a storm that is very strong, moving towards the northeast. I'll put the tracker on this one and see what we come up with. We get something. The fortunate thing is that most of this activity is in very rural areas, and we're not picking up any communities on that track either, so we will take that off. Let me put this tracker on it. Yeah, through Adamsville by about 10 of 6, you can expect some very heavy rains and strong winds, probably 40 to 50 mile an hour winds in that one as it cruises on across the northern portions of Lampasas County. Again, the widespread rain across just about all of Lampasas County right now. Not only do we have rain, but we've also got very strong winds, and from time to time we get a hail core. If you look on the bottom right or the lower left-hand side of your screen there, the bright pink that shows up in the middle of that storm, that's very large hail signature in that storm. So it may not be large hail, but it certainly is a large echo that is producing hail across a very wide area there on the San Saba side of the county line. And that stuff is going to move across that water, and there's a theory that as these storms move across a body of water like that, they actually draw more strength from that warm water, which gives them more lift. And that may be what we're seeing with the storm. Once it leaves San Saba County, moves across the Colorado into Lampasas County, they begin to almost explode in strength as they keep on propagating. The whole story on this is we've got a late season front coming through. The warm sector, or the warm front, if you will, is preceding this, and that is responsible for the showers and thunderstorms, and for the rest of us, the cloudy skies that we've been experiencing all day long today. Following that will be the cold sector. Now, it's not going to be real cold because we're late in May here. These storms don't have that much cold air behind them, but there's a contrast between the warm, moist air off the Gulf of Mexico and the cooler, drier air that is coming down the front range of the mountains, the Rockies and the plains, and entering West Texas. And as that moves across our region, then we have the contrast giving plenty of lift to the atmosphere. You put a lift into the atmosphere and it becomes very unstable. Warm air becomes very unstable when you give it just a little bit of a oomph pickup, and that is what we're seeing out to the west of us right now. I will back us out a little bit on this so we can see a wider picture of what's going on. Again, we have a tornado warning for Lampasas County. We don't have a tornado. We're not seeing any rotation, but we certainly are seeing a very healthy hail signature in that storm. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning for Hamilton County for very heavy rains, some large hail as well, and strong gusty winds. There's a huge multi-cell system that is stretching from Lampasas all the way back up to Eastland and Ranger along the Interstate 20 corridor. And in this area, it's very moist and unstable. And the southern end of that cluster is what is making its way through Hamilton and Lampasas counties right now. But there's more storm activity building up behind that with the heating of the afternoon. Little sun on top of those clouds, and they begin to percolate pretty good. And that's what's happening there. As we go through the evening hours tonight, very likely we're going to see more activity make its way through from the hill country into the I-35 corridor, from Killeen to Belton, Temple, and on up through Waco and extending northward towards Corsicana. We are anticipating another round of storms much like these. Perhaps not as strong, but certainly anticipating some moderate to heavy rains and very strong winds. That has been the big concern with the storm activity we were looking for today. Let's see what we're getting for the Weather Service. The tornado warning is going to continue. It is looking at 1-inch hail. That's, you talk about hail to an inch, that is almost the size of a golf ball, ping pong ball size at least. The storm, anytime you have a storm that can produce hail, it can also produce a tornado. This one has that productivity. It has not shown any signs of circulation, but the potential is there for a tornado to occur, hence the tornado warning that we have for Lampasas County. It is located now about northeast of Bend, northwest of Lampasas. It is moving towards the northeast at 30 miles an hour. And as I was saying earlier, it's getting close to Evan in that area right along Highway 84. This is the storm we're talking about. And you see the bright pink there. And right on the county line, the Colorado River is the county line there. And that's the heart of this storm making its way into Lampasas County. See, north of that we have another strong storm in Hamilton County, just moving up Highway 281. It's almost two cells there, as you can see, two deep red colored centers of the storms, working their way up from Evant towards Hamilton. Very heavy rains. You're likely to see some hail, perhaps to nickel size. Maybe some winds in excess of 40 to 50 miles an hour. At this point, we are not getting any eyes on the ground confirmation on any of this, so everything is Doppler radar indicated. So the potential is there. We're not seeing any rotation as we look at the Doppler, but we are certainly seeing the potential for hail in this storm. The Hamilton County storm doesn't show much in the way of any hail signatures, but we're still watching a very large pocket of what likely is hail making its way out of San Saba County and across the Colorado River into Lampasas County right now. Still holding together. A little pop-up, pulse-up hail signature showing up just briefly there close to the county line between Lampasas and Gulfway. We'll go in closer on this, and here's what we're seeing. We're getting a couple of different hail signatures there. One just pulsed up real briefly and then collapsed back down again, but the other one is this one that we're looking at in the lower left-hand corner of your screen. That's a very well-defined hail signature, very heavy rains around that as well. Right rear quadrant of that thunderstorm, that's where you'll see the hail usually in these storms. If you're out and the sky begins to get kind of a green shade to it, that is the sunlight being refracted off of the ice crystals in the hail. So if you see a green sky, that means that there's very likely going to be hail in your area very shortly. Good southerly winds feeding into these storms, a lot of moisture in place, and a lot of very heavy rain falling across regions that certainly need the rain. Remember, this is a part of our area that is in extreme drought conditions. A lot of ranchers out there with livestock, hunting leases, exotic breeds of livestock and hunting game, and the rain is needed. The way our climate has been here this spring, it's been very dry with the spotty rains, been generous east of I-35 down to the Blackland country, but the area west of I-35 has been just incredibly dry. We need the rain. We just don't want the damaging weather conditions like the hail and the winds. Again, to repeat, yes, you see a tornado warning there at the top of the screen. That is for a storm in Lampasas County. It does not look like it is tornadic at this point, although it certainly has been producing some large hail and some very strong winds. And as I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, if you've got a storm that can produce hail, then you've also got a storm that could potentially produce a tornadic signature as well. The hail core we detected earlier about 10-15 minutes ago died out pretty rapidly. A second one has brewed up. It died out almost as rapidly about 5 minutes ago, but now we have a third very large signature showing up here. This is San Saba County that you're looking at there at the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, moving into Lampasas County, and that is the reason that we have the tornado warning up for Lampasas County. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning for Hamilton County. Now, the duration on this tornado warning will run until 6:15. Severe Storms Forecast Center and National Weather Service office in Fort Worth don't like to drop these tornado warnings even though the threat looks like it's over with, because these things can pulse back up again, and I think that's what we have seen with this storm. The tornado warning is in effect until 6:15, and the severe thunderstorm warning for Hamilton County is going to be in effect until 6 o'clock. It's still a very strong storm, when we may see an extension of the severe thunderstorm warning for Hamilton County, as this storm is still very well, a very healthy looking storm, let's put it that way. See if I can't get a tracker on this Hamilton storm now, and we're going to use that. There we go. Take it on back. Heading, basically this storm is heading towards northern Bosque County, so you're looking at Whiteway and Rock House and Jonesboro and Pancake getting the effects of this storm over the next 10 minutes, it looks like. Very strong winds a large hail and some very torrential rains falling out of these storms. We've got ham radio operator in place in southern Hamilton County. They're seeing no rotation as the storm went by them. So likely that thunderstorm warning will run until 6 and possibly be extended, but I think probably more likely it's going to be upstream into Bosque County with this storm. Now, the tornado warning, that is for the storm that's down here in Lampasas County, and that one, although it's not showing any tornadic activity, it certainly is a hail producer, and because of that, there's always the potential for the possible tornadic signature showing up. Not seeing one so far. Here we go. This is the storm I'm talking about, and it's still is producing some large hail in San Saba County. That's the big pink dot you see there in the lower left-hand side of your screen. Hail producer moving in across Bend right there on the river between Lampasas and San Saba counties. Very likely getting some hail to at least 3/4 inch in size. Let's see, National Weather Service is saying a bit of rotation showing up north of Lomita on the Lampasas County line right now. Let me move up here and take a look at that then. And I'll switch over to reflectivity on this, I mean the velocity. Tornado warning in effect for Lampasas County until 6:15 this evening for a very strong thunderstorm that's making its way out of San Saba County across the Colorado River and into Lampasas County, and a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Hamilton County right now for a separate storm, but all part of the same storm system, producing hail and very high winds just to the south of Hamilton right now, between Hamilton and Evant. Very rural areas, but nonetheless, with the tornado warning, got to stay with them just in case that we get some development and they make it to ground level on that. All right, here we go. We're going to take a look at this storm again on the velocity mode. This is the storm we're talking about here. And velocity gives us an idea where there may be some rotation so that we can see the winds are moving into it and moving out of it. Now let's animate this, see what we can see here. Yeah, there's a very small little bit of rotation going on right there near the county line between Mills and Lampasas. To give you an idea where we're talking about here, you can see Highway 281 there on the right side of your screen. You can see Highway 181 over to the left side of your screen. Lampasas is just down here. There's Lomita. And there's Lampasas there. So we come up 281, and rural portions of northern Lampasas County is what we're talking about. We follow 281 up through Evant on Highway 84 in the direction of Hamilton. No rotation showing up there, and it looks like the heart of that storm has already moved on through and out, with the thunderstorm warning likely to expire in just a couple of minutes. The tornado warning is up until 6:15 for Lampasas County, and that's the storm we're looking at here. And yeah, I can see the reds and the greens side by side, and that's where we would be indicating a little bit of rotation with that storm. But it seems to be fairly weak rotation, it looks like to me, in this storm. But nonetheless, there is something going on there. We certainly need to keep a very close eye on it. Weather Service pulled the trigger on the tornado warning at about 5:25, 5:26 or so, as the storm began to really develop over San Saba County. And we've been tracking some real hail producers with it, but so far, no confirmation of a tornado out of this storm. If we're getting any reports, and so far nothing other than just some ham radio operators watching, and they're telling us very little rotation on the storm in Hamilton County at this point, but we are seeing what could be some faint rotation in the storm that is right on the county line with Lampasas and Mills County. Let me go in close on this one. You see the red box there. There's the storm that we're warning for possible tornado right on the county line between Lampasas and Goldthwaite there along Highway. Another storm sitting here has lost considerable punch. We're keeping an eye on that one. Hamilton warning to expire. If you are in the path of, seek shelter right away, because we're talking about some very 40, 50, 60 mile an hour winds are what. There's nothing to make me think that these let me show you what we're here, and with our mild temperatures, obviously, but we've got these storms. They come rolling in here, and we anticipate I-35 corridor night or so tonight, through first thing in the morning, about 6, 7 o'clock or so. Of not just this one bit, but another set of storms very likely. Probably 3, 4 o'clock or so in the morning, country, and approach Williams and Lampasas County and Bell County, and the morning commute, and then another area as we head towards the noonday hours as we go out throughout the hanging around until Wednesday morning, maybe midday on Wednesday, when things around to the north, the front moves on through and then across the region. While getting some rain here, weather that's in the picture for us as well right now. And we're looking at some very strong weather. Quarter across portions of San Saba County now, and Hamilton County, Brown County getting. We still have a tornado warning in effect. It's certainly been produced in Lampasas County as the storm made. You still see a very a signature of hail there in that storm to Lampasas County. Where the highway branch off now, and several made their way through the extreme western portion. Storms are rolling north. They're heading 5 to 40 miles an hour, and they Texas 50 miles an hour in these storms, which still makes them seeing much in the way of any rotation. Question of some rotation line between county and one of these little storms. You see the yellow are the storm, the possibility of a little bit of rotation as well. But again, the ham radio operator, any we're seeing the possibility of some faint, but ground truth is a may be due to if the rain is coming down very hard, which is and it's very possible that rotation doesn't mean that talking about the possibility of rotation in the mid levels of the atmosphere that could possibly not developed yet. So the warning area, and the warning is across much of includes Lomita, Adamsville line, so it's also covering portions. And storms rolling through this area are so you're getting some very strong weather. We have seen the potential severe thunderstorm warning was in a fire, but we still have tornado warning for all. Just continue to roll out Llano through San Saba County and County, where the very heaviest, very heavy rains falling. Rain totals are estimated to be at. Here while I pull that up real quick. Look at the first. I'm not seeing much here. Or lack. Well, there might be a little something going on there. You see across the county line, right in the middle of the outlines the tornado. Very broad rotation going on in towards a tornado. Now let me. While you look at that, I will see where we stand. There we go. Let's see what we got. See how much rain they're getting over there. Those are rainfall totals you're looking at from Saturday night. Let's go in here and see what we're seeing so far. If they allow this tornado warning to expire at 6:15, we will join 6 News at 6 o'clock. In the meantime, we'll keep it here to keep an eye on what's going on with the storm. All right, let's see what we got. East of San Saba, over 2 inches of rain. As we cross over in south of Gulf Wait, rain so far. Now, say that these very strong hail, the radar hits those hail, this reads that as rain, so this rainfall totals a lot of moisture in this storm. This column of rain towards high, your rainfall totals become a little bit very heavy rains, and that's going to be the story for the next at least maybe even longer than that if we do Wednesday afternoon with this stuff. That hit and miss, but here across central Texas. It sounds like we're getting rain. Are you guys hearing rain on the roof? All right, let me go back to the vertical velocity because no rain. All right, thank you. If you're just tuning in looking for 6 News at 6 o'clock, I'm Chief Meteorologist Andy Anderson. We have a tornado warning in effect right now for Lampasas County, portions of Lampasas, and a small portion of Mills County for some rather dangerous storms. So we certainly have seen hail showing and that is the mode that we use. If there's any rotation of these storms that would as to possible and suggested by colors there moving across the upper portion. If there was any rotation in the county line between Gulf Wait, we've also been keeping a very there was a severe thunderstorm warning for that one to expire, but possibly some very broad rotation. Hey, good news. The Weather Service tornado warning for Lampasas. A severe thunderstorm warning for expired as well. So over to Chris and Leslie.
This is 6 News at 6.
As Andy just mentioned, we will take it from here for able to expire. I'm Chris Radcliffe.
And I'm developing news in the murder case of 6 News has obtained a new document that indicates new details about the confession from Cecily
6 News anchor Bailey Bates has been sifting. It's got a lot to it. She joins us now live in studio.
One of the biggest missing pieces in the death of